Mayor's Commission, which was formed in 2001 when Governor DeFrancesco was debating at that time the extension and the reauthorization of urban enterprise zones. First of all, I want to thank and welcome the acting Governor Sheila Oliver for being here today. It's a great honor to have her here in the city of Elizabeth. Senator Nick Scutari is here, as well as, most important, not to distinguish, Senator Joe Cryan, who is a sponsor of the legislation. I want to make sure. Our Assemblywoman Annette Quijano, and also a really strong supporter, Assemblyman Gary Scher, who's been with us from the very beginning on urban enterprise zone reauthorization. I know Mayor Caba is here from Perth Amboy, Mayor Mapp from Plainfield, two mayors who have been extremely active as well. I want to thank our Union County Commissioners, Commissioners Kowalski, Leone, Commissioner Garrettson, Kowalski, and Granados for being here as well. Members of our City Council, Councilman Kevin Canary, and Councilman Bill Gallman, I believe, is here as well. Thank you very much. Oh, and our Council President, Councilwoman Patricia Perkins Augusti, who I could never forget, by the way. I keep trying, but I can never forget the Council President. And a special thanks to Ann Esterbrook and Mr. Dave Gibbons of the Elberon Development Company for hosting us. Thank you very much, Ann and Dave. And to all the staff here at Seafrigo, it's great to have you here. Not only are you here, but you also have one on Route 1, and we appreciate you coming to the city of Elizabeth. You know, as many municipalities throughout our state address individual and community and the economic impact of COVID-19, many small businesses in our urban enterprise zone continue to face challenges. And I remember the first conversation on the reauthorization with Evan Weiss, who's here in the governor's office, and Bill O'Day. I want to thank Evan and Bill O'Day for the hard work that they've done. We also want to thank Rebecca and Martell, who helped set this event up. Thank you very much. You know, with all of the demands that we need to meet, supporting the employees, making improvements, grant and loan opportunities, incentives, the Urban Enterprise Zone has been a program to help sustain and grow and support our local business community. Today's location, Seafrigo Warehouse, this opened in 2013, one of 3 locations within the City of Elizabeth's Urban Enterprise Zone. The company also operates an additional in Newark in an UEZ. The incentives offered through Urban Enterprise Zone helped Seafrigo move to the City of Elizabeth. They've been allowed to use the UEZ for their purchases and the building out of this warehouse. Their ability to save nearly $20 million in taxes between construction and operations has helped Seafrigo locate here. Transforming an underutilized site in our community, these warehouses create hundreds of new jobs, increase access to resources throughout our region. They're an asset to our community and to UEZs up and down the states. They've enabled business districts to recover during difficult times. Job creation, community-based developments. The Urban Enterprise Zone program here in our city is proven economic and financial mechanism for promoting public and private investment. And if I can tout the Elizabeth Urban Enterprise Zone program, we were named the #1 urban enterprise zone in the entire country about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And I want to thank Bill O'Day and his team who have managed the Urban Enterprise Zone since its inception. Way back in the Florio administration, we were not part of the Urban Enterprise Zone. Then Senator Raymond Lesniak asked Governor Florio, when they named an additional 5 zones, if the city of Elizabeth would be one of those second 5. We were, and to a great team in our city, our UEZ has shined. And it's been a great honor, by the way, to represent all of the UEZs throughout the state of New Jersey in dealing with the legislature and the governor's office. But this could not have happened without a commitment from the Murphy Oliver administration. When Evan Weiss was on the phone, He gave me a commitment. It is something the administration wants to do, and the reason because of that commitment from the governor's office, we are here today through the acting Governor Sheila Oliver. By the way, let me say that when Governor Oliver, acting governor, was the Speaker of the Assembly and an Assemblywoman from East Orange, she was clearly and enthusiastically supportive of urban enterprise zones through her entire tenure. So it's a great honor to have the acting governor, Sheila Oliver, join us here today and sign this legislation. May I present acting Governor Sheila Oliver.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank Mayor Bowledge for that nice introduction. And if there were any mayor of a UEZ municipality that did not constantly and consistently stay on the phone with us, it was Mayor Bowledge. And Mayor, we're here today, of course, because of your strong efforts as well. So I want to thank you. And I'm glad to join you in the city of Elizabeth today for the signing of this landmark bill. It has been a long time coming. And since we took office in 2018 and I became Commissioner of DCA, UEZ and the preservation of it has been at the top of our priority list. There's no doubt about it. I would like to thank our sponsors as well in the legislatures and the co-sponsors that are here today, because they had to take up the fight in the legislature to maintain the UEZ program. Senator Cryan, Assemblyman Scher, Assemblywoman McKnight, Assemblyman Holly, and Assemblywoman Annette Quijano. I'd also like to thank, we couldn't have done it without them. I'd also like to thank the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the African American Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey for advocating for the legislation's passage. And I'd like to, give them a round of applause. And I'd like to also thank Senator Scuteri, because you know that from Union County, working with the Union County legislators, he also was a strong voice to punt this football to the end of the field. So thank you, Senator Scuteri. I'd also like to recognize our UEZ director. I asked her to stand, Tracy Fredericks. And she's joined here today by our state business development rep, James Simmons, who has been with the UEZ program for years. Now, I also want to recognize someone that all of you that are in municipal government, you work with, and that is the director of our Division of Local Government Services, Jacqueline Suarez. Jacqueline is here with us today as well. Now, before I give my remarks on this legislation and bill signing, as is customary, if the governor were here, he would give you our latest COVID statistics. So these are the numbers we received this morning from the New Jersey Department of Health. Today, we are reporting a total of 5,431,615 individuals who live, work, or study in New Jersey who have now completed their full vaccination course. And we're going to say this every day. We encourage everyone to get vaccinated. It is the best way to fully protect yourself, your family, and the entire community. We are reporting 1,359 additional positive PCR and 620 presumed positive antigen tests. Our health commissioner told us that we are going to anticipate from 1,000 to 2,000 positive cases per day going forward. The positivity rate currently is 6.13%, and we have a statewide rate of transmission of 1.27. Our hospitals are treating 812 COVID positive patients today, along with 54 more who are waiting confirmation that they are positive. There are 157 patients in our ICUs, and we have 64 patients in the state who are currently on a ventilator. Throughout the day yesterday, 112 COVID positive patients were admitted, 85 were discharged. Sadly, I have to report that we experienced 20 COVID deaths yesterday. To come back to the reason we are gathered here today, and our EDA director, who has worked with us on this bill as well, Tim Sullivan, knows why we are here today. The Urban Enterprise Zone program is New Jersey's oldest economic development program, as Mayor Bolwich made reference to, dating back to the 1980s. The program authority is an affiliate agency of the Department of Community Affairs, and it was created to foster economic climate that revitalizes designated urban communities and stimulates their growth by encouraging businesses to develop and create private sector jobs through public and private investments. Back in the 80s, UEZ was all about job development, as the state experienced in the 80s a real challenge in unemployment. Currently, there are 32 zones. They're spread across 37 municipalities, and they are home to approximately 7,267 certified UEZ businesses. According to a study that was commissioned by DCA and required through our state legislature and from feedback from municipalities, we determined that this program was in need of an update. The bill I will sign today will restore and revise the Urban Enterprise Zone program. The reform bill will retain the main benefits of the old UEZ and some of the existing elements of it. These benefits include half the state's sales tax for consumers on purchases from UEZ businesses, as well as sales tax exemptions on the purchase of goods and new construction costs for UEZ businesses. And as Mayor Bolwich pointed out, here at Seafrigo, $20 million was able to be diminished as a result of the program, creating jobs right here in Elizabeth and most definitely contributing to the ancillary growth that you see when you visit this portion of the city of Elizabeth. In keeping with the Murphy administration's policy on tax incentives broadly towards fiscal responsibility, the UEZ reform institutes a $100,000 cap on business purchases. It will leave room for small businesses to benefit from the program while phasing it out for larger businesses to whom the impact was muted. For the first time in 10 years, UEZs will receive flexible economic development funds to start grant programs, revolving loan programs, clean and safe initiatives, targeted public safety interventions in commercial areas, and more. This is a boom for our mayors and governing bodies at the local level. $40 million will be made available statewide in fiscal year 22, $42.5 million available to our UEZs. The reform also requires new plans to be put in place by municipalities helping to ensure that the funds will be spent responsibly and according to a comprehensive plan, as opposed to just one-offs. Plans must also incorporate feedback from diverse business organizations and the community at large. I'm excited to sign this legislation today, especially as many UEZ businesses located in the designated communities continue to recover from the pandemic. Starting today, the UEZ program will be an essential part of our state's economic recovery strategy. Finally, I'd like to thank the Elberon Development Group and the group's chairwoman, Ann Estabrook, and President Dave Gibbons, as well as Seafrigo's CEO, Stephanie Desange, for hosting us here today and joining us. You know, Mayor Bolwich, there is not a time that I don't drive by the Jersey Gardens that I remember what was there and I see what is there today. UEZ in Elizabeth is a stringent reminder to the economic impact that this UEZ program can have. And with that, I'm going to bring up our next speaker, and we are going to hear not just from Senator Joe Cryan today, but we'll hear from Assemblyman Gary Scher, John Harmon. We will hear from Carlos Medina, and we won't have anyone individually introduce them, but they will come up consecutively and provide remarks to you. Thank you.
Hey, how about another round of applause for Governor Sheila Oliver? Governor, we're honored you're here, and we're honored that you chose the 20th District to sign this in the great city of Elizabeth. The governor mentioned that 24 districts receive funding from the $40+ million that are allocated today, 37 separate UEZ communities, over 7,200 individual businesses eligible and registered under the UEZ program. I think it's important to note that 6 of those districts actually receive over $3 million. And one of them is right here in the 20th District. And Governor, thank you and Governor Murphy for your commitment to economic prosperity for all of New Jersey. We appreciate it very much. I think what folks don't realize is I get, from the legislative standpoint, and my colleague Nick Scutari knows this, when people talk about the UEZ program, they very much associate it with North Jersey. It's a North Jersey thing. Well, the district that receives the most money is actually District 1 in South Jersey. And if you add District 1 and 2, you're north of $6 million of the program. It's important to realize this is a program for all of New Jersey, and it's a balance for that. And I got to tell you, Sheila, the privilege of having you here as governor to do that is something that should be a trademark for all of us to understand what it is to make a difference in a career. The mayor of Elizabeth mentioned it, Chris mentioned it, but I had the opportunity to work with Sheila for years, both in a leadership capacity and a colleague capacity in the Assembly. Fairness, opportunity, and business interest being able to grow has been a trademark of your career. It's something you've accomplished in a great deal at DCA, and we're so proud that you're here today. Thank you, Governor Oliver, for signing the bill here today. Thank you. Thank you. I'd probably be easier asking this question over who didn't get a phone call from Chris Bolwich on this bill. To put it mildly, to say he's an advocate for it and it takes the job of a mayor who leads the fight for UEZs passionately is something I think doesn't get said enough. He doesn't take enough credit for it, and even in his speech today, honestly, I can't think of a finer mayor in this state, with all due respect to the mayors that are here, but I can't think of one more passionate about the idea of the need for this reform and the fairness for this reform. Today is a great day for the city of Elizabeth, and it's a great day for a great leader. Congratulations, Chris Bolwich, for your work. We appreciate it very much. Now, there are a diverse amount of folks here from a diverse amount of interests, right? Gary's going to speak right when I introduce him, so I'm trying to think of something funny to say when I introduce him. I don't know if it's going to work. But John and Carlos are here from Chambers of Commerce. Where's Mike? Mike Eganton's over there from BIA. The amount of folks that are here from so many different interests are reflective of the importance of this bill and the economic investment and the job opportunities that it creates. I think it shouldn't be lost on anybody reporting this story today of how diverse this is and how important it is. For example, here in the 20th District, Chris is obviously the leading voice for UEZs, but 3 of our 4 communities, as Annette Chiano and I know, receive funding under this bill. I see Mayor Mapp from Plainfield. We're ready to go, right? New economic investment is a unique opportunity for us to share in the growth that's there. That's why it's so important we're here. To Dave and Ann, thanks for hosting us. Stephanie, the folks at Seafrigo, your investment in this community has made a difference. And I don't know about you, but I'm sure Chris would share the same sentiment. I hope it's hard to hear me over the trucks, because each one of those trucks carries economic opportunity for people in the state of New Jersey, not only through the port, but through the goods and services of people like Seafrigo. It's incredibly important to us here, and it's important that we be part of the future of this. Now, anybody who's owned a business knows that your business plan, if it was developed in 1980, it doesn't matter today. It's an old, dated plan that doesn't work. And anybody who's ever bought anything off this phone, should I say in the past 24 hours, 48 hours, knows that the retail experience is different today than it was a mere 3, 4, 5 years ago. I watched the governor's office with Sheila Oliver's leadership and Phil Murphy. I see the flexibility in EDA. Tim Sullivan, thank you for being here, the leader of the EDA. That opportunity to be flexible is why this bill is so necessary today. It's important that we change legislation to reflect the times. And government not only demands change and being fluid, but it also demands accountability. The acting governor mentioned it, I want to repeat it. This idea of having large businesses that would take a lot of dollars out of UEZ in certain instances. The capping at $100,000 is incredibly important to small businesses throughout this state. The opportunity for ZAFs, for the assistance funds, is just incredibly important, and the reinstallation of those fundings and the opportunity, as Tim would say, for business capital, and to develop a plan that's at least reviewed every 5 years. And the intention of having business partnerships that work not only with DCA, but with Treasury, with EDA. And it's a requirement that they be part of something successful with a plan for the future. And those plans no longer will be, as the governor mentioned, one-offs. It's important investment that requires strategic planning that's part of a process to incorporate future results. I think this bill is a game changer in so many ways, but it's reflective of what good government should do. It's reflective of the opportunity to make capital, jobs, and opportunity available for the residents of the state of New Jersey. I'm proud to be a part of it today. I'm proud to be here. I'm very proud to stand with you, Sheila, here in the 20th District, and with the mayor, because today is a very, very big deal. I just want to close with this. People look all the time and say, can things work or do they not work? We've watched over the past 18, 19 months, whenever March to August is, if you count the months. We've watched things evolve. We've watched things change. We've watched lives lost. The governor opened with the comments about COVID. Absolutely no business can be fully on board with a full foundation until we achieve the vaccination rates that are important so that we can get out and invest in our communities. I can't emphasize it enough. If you're not wearing your mask, put your mask on when we finish. Make sure that we have the opportunities, encourage others to get vaccinated. Sheila Oliver has fought for years to make sure that diverse business interests have that opportunity. We need to make sure all communities have opportunities, are vaccinated, economic opportunities, that this is in fact one New Jersey for all of us. Today is reflective of that. I'm proud to be a part of it. Along with Annette Chiano in the 20th District, we say thank you, Governor, very much. Chris, if you could take a couple days off on the phone, we'd appreciate that. Okay. I need to just recognize one other person before I introduce Gary. He doesn't like it, but his insights, and I mentioned Nick, my colleague, but I got to tell you, Bill O'Day and Bill O'Day's influence. Billy, I got to tell you, today's a big day for you. I'd also want to take a moment, I hope it's okay, he's not here, but Nick and I deal with another Nick Sacco. And Nick had a lot to do on this bill. I want to thank him as well. So to my Assembly colleagues, thank you. To my Senate colleague, thank you for being here. And to those who did it, Governor, it's a thrill. And it's now my honor to introduce, without humor, because he is a serious guy, If you don't know him, he's one of those folks that not only analyzes data, which, by the way, this bill also requires data analytics. He's a man who analyzes data, looks at the best that government can offer, and offers new ideas each and every day. That's why he's the policy director, or the director of policy is the right, policy chairman for the New Jersey General Assembly Caucus. He's also the deputy speaker. He's a proud assembly member who represents, among other cities, the city of Passaic, where he handles a dual role, where he advocates, creates policy, and creates change that's better for all of New Jersey. It's my privilege and honor to introduce to you Assemblyman Gary Scher.
Good morning, everyone. Just a brief announcement before I start my remarks, and that is that Senator Cryan was so gracious in speaking about how difficult it is to hear because of commerce at work. So the good news and the bad news, Senator Cryan, Mayor Ballridge, is in about 5 minutes the state police will be diverting all traffic to the city of Passaic in District 36. We hope you all from Union County and don't mind too very much. In all sincerity, when one speaks about this bill, there's one thing that one readily gathers, and that is that the bill's champions are so obvious and apparent. People who have been fighting this fight for years, people who have believed from the start, from the get-go, that this kind of program has in the past and will in the future make a tremendous difference to their cities, to their districts, and to the entire state. And no one has been a bigger advocate than Mayor Ballridge. Mayor Ballridge, your leadership has been absolutely, since I think we first met, Chris, that was the topic, right? I had the pleasure to go into the mayor's office, big, beautiful office, and I said, Mayor, I'd like to speak about those issues that are of most importance to you and to your city. And he said, 1, do you have time for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And 2, it's UEZ, UEZ, UEZ. To your leadership, Senator Cryan, you have been there from the get-go as well. Lieutenant Governor, I remember when I had the privilege to serve with you in the Assembly, from a slightly different perspective than, with the exception of 3 other people, than anyone else in the legislature. What is that perspective? A number of years ago, dual office holding was allowed, but there was a grandfather clause put into the bill that people who served in 2 levels of government could continue, but only in those 2 levels. So I speak in 2 languages, if you will. Number 1, as a member of the General Assembly, and number 2, as a member of the Governing Council of the City of Passaic, where I have now served 27 years, 24 of them as council president. In a community that is similar, my legislative colleagues, to those that you have the privilege to represent. And so it's been easy, not easy, but easier for us to understand the impact that Trenton can and does make, day in and day out, to a local community. And it reaffirms to us how those local communities can best benefit. Importantly, this legislation, which received the close, detailed view of the governor's office, and we can't thank Governor Murphy and we can't thank Lieutenant Governor Oliver for their painstaking work to get this done, but to make sure that it was done right. Senator Cryan spoke about, for example, the limitation of this bill to $100,000. That's to make sure that large companies, which need funding, are not the only beneficiaries, but small companies as well, mom and pop companies, especially in immigrant communities. And as a proud resident of the city of Passaic, we are, I believe, about 82% minority. Those businesses need a helping hand more than most others for obvious reasons. And that is a helping hand that is required of us and will in fact be met. This bill takes into account the input of our minorities, the input of our businesses, the recognition that small business growth is indeed where Jersey is at. But again, it could not be done with everyone's help. My Assembly colleagues, my legislative friends, Mr. Mayor, gentlemen, it's been a privilege to work on this bill. It's been a privilege to know that in another hour or two, all this traffic will be going through the city of Passaic, and we thank you again. It's my privilege, if I may, if you'll allow me, to introduce John Harmon. John is President and Chief Executive Officer of the New Jersey African American Chamber of Commerce. He is someone who we constantly turn to for his insight, for his understanding, and for his ability, like few others, to put it all together. And the resultant factor is something special and something necessary and something good. Please join me in welcoming John Harmon.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for coming to this very important occasion today. We want to just thank our governor today, Sheila Oliver. We thank you for being here. The mayor for hosting this, the senator and the assemblyman for that gracious introduction. I'm just going to share a few of my thoughts, I think, and also my friend Tim Sullivan, because, you know, we all work together to make it better here in the state of New Jersey. And this particular bill today is important because it was a collaboration that brought it forward. A lot of perspectives, a lot of ideas, and a lot of genuine concerns for inclusion. The senator talked about flexibility. This bill has it incorporated. It talked about a cap to ensure that those that are on the smaller end of the economic scale as it relates to commerce and business are also included. But moreover, from the black community, we have over 1.2 blacks in the state, over 80,000 black businesses, but from many perspectives, we're still underperforming. This particular initiative, this bill, would afford us an opportunity to get in a better place. If you have commerce occurring in communities like Elizabeth, Trenton, and others, you know, you have the potential to impact those that are at the bottom, creating more jobs, more economic opportunities. And as I said, you know, blacks have the highest poverty, the highest unemployment. If we can create more opportunities like this in communities where blacks and Latinos reside, we would all get in a better place. At the end of the day, the Assemblyman talked about one New Jersey. And in order to have one New Jersey, we need this type of collaboration around the table, talking about the issues at hand, and affording us all an opportunity to contribute to the greatness of our state. We thank Governor Murphy for allowing us to be a part of this, and we encourage others to consider the Hispanic Chamber as well as the African American Chamber as you're talking about major decisions like the one we're talking about today. With that said, I want to introduce a good friend, a co-laborer in this effort to improve the overall competitiveness of our state, the Honorable, my friend Carlos Medina, who is the president of the statewide Hispanic Chamber. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Carlos Medina, and I'm president and CEO of the statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We're the voice of the 120,000 Hispanic-owned businesses that call New Jersey home. We guesstimate that these companies contribute $20 billion annually to the New Jersey economy. And we had a recent census come out. 21.6% of New Jersey's population is Hispanic. About 2 million residents are Hispanic in New Jersey. So I thank you, Governor, Mayor, Senator, Assemblyman, and my partner, John Harmon, who was just inducted in the New Jersey Hall of Fame. In 20 years, I hope to be at your level, John. I want to call out Tim Sullivan, Ty Cooper from the EDA. When the unexpected happened, They were there for the chamber. They were there for the African American chamber. There's a picture on my desk that I always remember. I mention it to Tim a lot. It was about 2 months before COVID. It's Tim, it's Ty, is the mosaic of New Jersey. And I thank all the diverse assembly people, elected officials, the new mayor of Perth Amboy, my friend Annette Quijano, everybody who supported this. John and I received a call from the front office about 6 months ago to talk about this bill. And it was a long conversation, but to summarize it, we asked for a seat at the table. And I feel what we have today gives us a seat at the table, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And next we're going to have a signing. So if we could join the governor as signing the bill. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all the speakers. There's one person I forgot on my staff, Susan McCune, who's worked this issue really hard. Thank you very much, Susan, for all of your efforts as well.